to the podcast of Festival of Ideas, Vinay.
Thanks for having me.
First and foremost, what is your take on Festival of Ideas?
I think it's a great idea. Firstly, the fact that it's broadcast so many people can see it. Two is that there's a genuine debate. Like I just attended a session where there were some people who were pro Modi, some people who were against Modi, and that's what a debate should be. And it was civil, it was not personal, but there were conversations happening. Too often, festivals like this tend to just spout one view.
Yes.
So it's nice to have a genuine debate and genuine disagreement.
That is very nice, and so do we see that in your books also. You've authored multiple books. Talking about them, just help our viewers understand a bit about the flair of writing. What would you like writing about politics? New authors. What would you tell them?
I'd say two things. One is that ultimately you're a storyteller, and ultimately who you're writing for is the reader. And a reader, especially a reader today, in the 4 or 5 evenings that it takes to read a book, which is let's say 300 pages, could see multiple movies, could go on, could hear podcasts such as this. So you have to make it worth the while of a reader who has a lot else to do with her or his time. And the only way to do that is two things. One is to be able to tell an engaging story, and two is credibility. They have to believe you. The second thing is really important because we're seeing a huge amount of content coming online.
Yes.
But what you don't know is what to believe. Is it true? Does the person have an angle? All readers, the first question they ask is, does the person have an angle?
Is there a personal agenda behind
Is there
something?
an agenda? Is there a personal, political? Is there some faida that that is, is it a book or is it advertisement? Right?
Absolutely.
And readers are very smart. Nobody's going to, spend 600 rupees and spend 6 evenings.
Yes.
Unless they believe the writer. So I would say, anyone who's writing a book, I would say these are the two things that, look, at the end of the day, it's not the quality of your English, it's do you know how to tell a story? Do you know how to keep the reader engaged? And secondly, how does the reader trust you?
Yes.
Right? I think these are the two things. And I think it's very important that for a lot of people, the act of writing is, something is inside and they're bringing it out, and that's great. But ultimately, you're creating a book, and the book is to be read by someone, and you have to never lose sight of the fact that the reader is king and the reader is queen.
Absolutely. Very interesting. You said that the reader has changed. The reader has changed drastically in the last 4-5 years a lot, especially with the onset of social media and everything. Really looking at paper books is not really the thing anymore. If you look at it, how do you see that change? And as an author, how have you developed and changed for that?
I mean, look, it is what it is, right? So
Yes.
I don't want to lament, in the olden days in India, people used to read. This is the way the world is right now. And you have to make it, so the burden is now on the writer.
Yes.
To say, I have to make it, I have to make it worthy for the reader who has other options. So you're working in a competitive field where it's not just another book that you're competing with, it's a movie, it's a TV show, it's Netflix. My biggest enemy is Netflix.
Yes.
Right? And I have to fight that, right? And I also have to ask the question, what can I give you that Netflix can't?
And what is the answer to that?
I think provide a level of detail and context, right? And, because I'm also an academic, footnotes that Netflix doesn't do. But it's an uphill battle. But there is a market for people who want to read. I don't think readers have gone down. It's just that they have other things to do with their time.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to bemoan, India or the readership today. It's just that, potential writers have to kind of, just roll up their sleeves and just work harder at capturing the attention of readers. It's also a little more complicated because a book, while it is a product, in that you buy it,
Yes.
you read it, right, and you have a consumer. It's not just a product, because the aim is also to transform the way a reader thinks. Right?
Absolutely.
You have to be honest and truthful. Right?
Vinay, can I interrupt here and ask you one thing very important, as you mentioned? How do you keep that balance there? Because as a journalist, we all also always have to keep that balance, and that is the hard part.
Yeah.
So as an author and as a writer, as you mentioned, that you do not want to look like you're influenced from any side or you have an influence of anything, any agenda in any form. How do you keep that balance?
So one way to keep the balance, to give you a very simple example, so there are many ways to ask, like, what are you balancing? Right?
Yes.
First is, are you pro-BJP, pro-Congress? So are you
Yes.
right, left? Two is, if I've written 2 biographies, so
Yes.
do you love your subject or do you hate your subject?
Yes.
Right? These are 2 different ways. look, I like any other human being, I have my biases.
Yes.
Right? I'm aware of them. Right? And I try to construct a story of facts where even if you don't buy my opinion, you can say that, look, this fact you can't change. Right? This fact is footnoted, you can't change that.
Interesting.
So I think that's one way in which you build trust, which is somebody who disagrees with you can read it, come up with a very different interpretation of you, of the writer. And if you do it in a transparent manner, people will believe you. But I would say that, as I said, credibility and readability, these are the two central features for anyone who wants to write a book. I mean, too many people write a book because they have something to say. But you also have to ask the question, is somebody listening?
Is somebody there to read what you've written? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.